to hide.
All right. If you must, we got 3 minutes. Hide yourself away. Yeah, is it really weapons grade? That's a good question because it's from the NSA. So you could just say like, well, anything from the NSA is weapons grade, right?
In which
But
case
what
it's
makes it weapons grade beyond that? I don't know.
oops. If it's from the NSA, shouldn't it be like a national security grade?
Yeah.
Spook grade.
Intelligence grade, spook grade, shiny shoe grade.
A weapons grade substance is one that is pure enough to be used to make a nuclear weapon or has properties that make it particularly
I
suitable
don't
for
think you can make a nuclear weapon out of this ransomware. I'm pretty
Hey man,
skeptical on that.
I'm just reading the Wikipedia entry for
No, I
weapons
know.
grade. It makes me happy. It irritates my wife because technically it's a non-vetted source, but you know, friction in a relationship is really what keeps you young and sweet. You know about that, Tom.
I do. Now, here's where my mind went, though. You started talking about weapons grade nuclear fuel. I thought of yellow cake uranium, which made me think of a bakery, which made me want pie.
Oh, now I want pie. Thanks, Tom.
It just happens, okay? It happens.
Yeah, everybody says that. It just happens. Oop, no, stop. Stop. Sorry.
Okay.
Was Windows trying to update again?
No, God, no.
Quick question for you, Patrick.
7.
Tech thing, AVXL. Was there anything else you want us to?
Twitch, but let's push AVXL and tech thing, please.
Done.
At some point, I'm going to finish setting up my new audio blog, but
You mean a podcast?
no, an actual place where one
I know what you mean.
writes with words on a written page.
I know about audio. I get it.
Well, just there's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about, you know, with speakers and headphones and audio gear and stuff.
No, I would love that.
I don't want to try to stuff into tech thing because,
Mm-hmm.
you know, my audience is kind, but there's only so many headphone reviews they can take before the revolt.
Yeah, I hear you.
And then my children starve, and since I don't want to starve my children.
No, definitely not worth that.
And then suddenly from weapons grade, I go to the sea of instability.
We should probably start the show then before you go out to sea.
I love
Are
how
you ready?
sea of instability goes to island of stability. In any case,
Come back to shore, Patrick.
dude, I'm learning here. I'm
All right.
sciencing, man.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Hey you, yeah you. Do you want to help out the Daily Tech News Show? Well, it's really easy. Just go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support and find out how. Thank you.
This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, May 12th, 2017. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Patrick Norton, host of Tech Thing and AVXL. Patrick, are you ready for mayhem?
Now that my computer is updated with the latest Windows updates, I feel I can leave the house again. Yes.
I am the kind of person who very frequently will tell people on this show, this security scare is something you should pay attention to, but it's not that serious. This security scare is being overblown. These headlines are exaggerating. Today is not that day. This ransomware thing that is eating the globe right now is bad.
It's only in 99 countries. It's only 57,000 computers and climbing. Why are
You personally, if you don't work in a workplace that's infected, may not have to worry too much, and we'll get into why. But it is eating a fiery path through the world's enterprise IT sectors and exacting wrath on those who have not implemented the March Windows patches.
Yeah, I mean, when the government of Great Britain has to tell the people of Great Britain that the National Health Service has not been targeted, it just got wiped out along with everything else. Like
collateral damage was our national health. Yeah,
hate that. But
well, we are going to get into that. That is coming a little later in the show. But let's start with a few other tech things you should know about. Apple announced that Corning will receive $200 million from Apple's $1 billion U.S. Advanced Manufacturing Fund. Corning, of course, makes Gorilla Glass, which is in all the phones, and they're the first company to get money out of this new fund. Yay. Samsung announced its fourth Tizen OS phone, the Z4, with a 2.5-inch WVGA screen and a gigabyte of RAM coming to India this month. Patrick, did you know they were still making Tizen phones?
You know, I'm just delighted and shocked.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Samsung wants to just keep it on the back burner just in case.
Well,
so they make those entry-level phones. Here's some more top stories. U.S. District Judge William Alsup denied Uber's request to have its trade secrets lawsuit with Waymo moved to arbitration. Uber wanted it moved to arbitration because Anthony Lewandowski, who is the accused, had arbitration in his contract. But Judge Alsup said, no, you aren't. They are not suing Lewandowski. They're suing you. So Judge Alsup decided to refer the dispute to the U.S. attorney for investigation. A trial has been scheduled for October. Waymo alleges that Anthony Lewandowski took 14,000 files with him when he left Google. And of course, Google's autonomous car project became Waymo. Judge Alsup has yet to rule on Waymo's request for a preliminary injunction, which would shut down some of Uber's autonomous car research. This is juicy courtroom drama. This is Perry Mason stuff when it comes to tech court. And the big thing that we've been waiting for is that preliminary injunction, because that is the one thing that could really impede Uber is if they can't conduct certain research.
I don't know. I had another moment this morning where a car with an Uber tag in it did something illegal in terms of maneuvering and endangered me. So at this point, I think anything that complicates Uber's legal life just makes me that much happier. And that's not a particularly rational response, and it's not a particularly legal response.
Well, also, you want them to get the autonomous cars then, so that that person is off the road and not cutting you off in traffic anymore.
Well, I do not want people to be unemployed, but I would also, I don't know. Uber's I don't see Uber having done anything that justifies making their life easier in court based on the way they've behaved in several other venues and several other cases. I wish the relevant orders weren't sealed. It would be nice to have been able to dig in and start getting the really juicy details of what's going down there.
Yeah, and the upshot here is we're waiting on that preliminary injunction to see how bad it's going to be for Uber, and then after that, this is going to go quiet until the fall. Yeah. Swiss security firm ModZero released a security advisory Thursday saying a keylogger had been found in an audio driver package for HP Business and Enterprise laptops. A log was kept unencrypted in a user's home directory, began at login, and overwrote itself with every new login. It was not being used by anybody. It was really easy to see it was there. It was very much not malicious, but maybe incompetent would be a word you would use. HP rolled out a Windows update to fix the problem, and HP VP Mike Nash said the keylogger was never meant to go into a production version of the driver. It was put in by the maker of the driver, Connexent, as a crude way to debug hotkeys, and they forgot to take it out.
Oh boy. It's I feel bad for HP because now everybody's like, HP is just like Lenovo.
They were trying to spy on us, and Lenovo was doing it on purpose. They wanted to make some ad revenue.
In this case, it was mere incompetence. Somebody forgot to check a box in the process of rolling out the driver, and as you point out, nobody was actually using it.
Yeah.
It was just there.
It was just there doing its thing the way it would do as a debugging piece, right? Tell me all the keys that were switched so that I can map it up against how it performed and see if the hotkeys worked the way they were supposed to be working. That's really all it was meant for.
On the upside, somebody found it and HP's issued a fix before somebody found it and turned it into an exploit, because these are basically enterprise machines that the keylogger driver with the keylogger inside of it were going into.
Yeah, I guess the only fallout would be is if you were running backups, automatic backups, you might want to check the backups and make sure that keylogger file isn't sitting in your backup somewhere, just in case.
Good plan.
An update to Google's Allo app lets users create custom emojis based off selfies, so your face can become an emoji. Neural networks map the images and illustrate it using a kit designed by artist Lamar Abrams, and then you can tweak the emoji after the initial mapping to suit your tastes. Allo then creates 22 custom stickers based off the template. Custom emojis are available on Android, and iOS support coming soon. Fun use of machine learning for an app that not that many people are using yet.
Several people have used it just in the last few days.
Because they wanted to try out the emoji thing? Or?
Exactly. We've created the best emojis on the planet because we really, really want people to use this particular communications app from Google before everybody starts to like it, and we kill it.
It is what you do if you want people to start using your app. You come up with stuff like this.
Right.
So
I mean, there is interesting stuff inside of it. You know, I love the idea that you can like change the size of your text so you can yell at somebody in your text conversations. You know, you can manipulate photos, but I don't know. At this point, I think Google has burned so many people over the last decade with sort of rolling out, you know, communications apps and then wiping them, stifling them, or downgrading them. Can they ever get much traction on one of these again?
Yeah. I think back to, and I wonder, just on the side of machine learning going into all these things, if any sci-fi authors predicted that when AI finally came along, it would be used to have little cats follow you around in Snapchat, or put a dinosaur in the driveway in front of a kid in a Halloween costume, or turn your face into an emoji that you can use in the Allo app.
Yeah, and then it became sentient, and then it became Skynet.
And that's the rule of
following
Skynet.
you with the cat.
Yeah, it's like Godwin's law. When Skynet comes on, it's time to move on. John Pashofsky at BuzzFeed reports that sources say the availability of that Amazon Video app in Apple TV that we were talking about earlier this week will be announced at WWDC on June 5th. That might be a big announcement. Apple rolls out. Maybe Jeff Bezos comes on stage. Who knows? And Amazon reportedly would resume selling the Apple TV at that point as well, because remember, they stopped selling it in 2015 because it didn't have the Amazon Video app on it.
No. They stopped selling it because it didn't have an excellent Amazon Video experience.
Didn't have an Amazon experience. My thank you for the correction. You're absolutely right. That's why they say they stopped selling it.
Robert Heron and I were talking about this on AVXL yesterday, and we're both like, "Yay! It's finally going to be on Apple TV." And then, of course, you know, the joke we didn't make is like, that means Apple, of course, will be available on the Fire TV and the Roku in the immediate future. But you know, people are like, you know, Apple's preventing them. It's like they didn't submit an app because they didn't like the terms of. And you probably talked about
the terms
this
are
week.
Preventing them, but but nothing else.
Terms are discouraging them. They're not.
It makes me wonder two things. One is, will they allow Amazon's store? That would be the first time that an alternate store would be allowed on Apple TV. Apple TV allows all kinds of streaming, but Vudu is not up there. Google Play isn't up there. I guess there's a YouTube app where you could buy things and play them back through your YouTube player, theoretically. But that will be interesting to see. And Roku is starting to fall behind. There are a lot of services coming out, like the Hulu Live TV service did not come out for Roku yet. It's coming, but it didn't come out yet. So it's starting to heat up the competition there.
I'm down with that. Heat it all up.
Elon Musk posted a video on Instagram showing a sled traveling on tracks in a tunnel. It's a test run of the Boring Company. That's the idea of moving cars at 125 miles per hour on sleds underground to circumvent traffic. I mean, I don't know how big the sled is in this test hole. The hole doesn't look that big. It's moving pretty fast. I don't know if it's moving 125 miles an hour, but he's dug a hole and put a sled in it. Like, he's not messing around.
Well, the pictures, if you go on his feed, the pictures are really, really amazing, because they're showing out the big thing with the Boring Company is that they're going to bore the tunnels, but the tunnel bore is actually going to be, I guess, a couple hundred yards long, and will actually, there it is. If you start moving to the right, oh, by the way, nice pineapple. That's the snail that's going to race the boring tunnel. But the idea is that there's the snail. Yay, snail! Go pineapples! High five! The tunnel is supposed to actually, you know, I guess create the tunnel behind it, or do shoring and bracing to radically decrease the amount of time it takes to dig tunnels. So part of me is I don't know if anything's going to come out of high-speed sleds traveling under the, you know, fault-ridden soil of Los Angeles, but the tunneling equipment looks really, really interesting.
Well, you know, they did a lot to try to figure out how to put subways here at all. Right. And there was a huge sinkhole when the first one was dug back in the late 90s.
Whoops.
So if you can do it here, which you can do it, you can do it anywhere, as the song goes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really curious. I mean, having recently spent some quality time in LA traffic, I would love to see this idea work. But the reality is I don't think they can get what's the cost going to be for your sled ride?
Yeah.
You know, as your car is hurtled at 125 miles an hour, you know, what's the electrical cost going to be? What's the physical? Is it going to be $20? Is this going to be like another classic, Southern California? Well, if you got $13 each way for your commute, you can take the fast
track.
Fast track. But if you don't, you're going to be, bumper to bumper traffic.
Well, there's that one highway through Orange County where you pay to drive the whole length of it, and you can
That's the exact one I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I took that several years ago and was like, this is great.
Yeah.
This is costing me an outrageous amount of money, but
there's no one else here.
It was fast.
Hey, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, subscribe to our other show, dailytechheadlines.com. You can get all the past episodes, keep up to date super fast. And it's also available as a flash briefing on Amazon Echo and in the app Anchor at anchor.fm. And that is a look at our top stories. All right. Ransomware called WannaCry has infected computers in the UK, US, China, Russia, Spain, Italy. We don't have time to talk about the 99 countries that it is in. It's also known as WannaCryptor or WCry or WannaDecryptor. It is ransomware. It encrypts a drive and demands $300, although there's some reports that some of them are demanding $600 in Bitcoin to unlock. It's distributed to other Windows machine on the same network, gives 3 days to pay before doubling the amount, and then gives 7 days to pay before threatening to lock your files forever. It's been out for a while. WannaCry has been around since March, and the most recent version, some people are saying, was identified a couple of weeks ago. But just in the last 24 hours, it spiked. Jacob Krustek at AVG Avast has been keeping track of the instances of this, and Patrick found his latest tweet right before the show, 57,000 instances of this out there.
That's the one from like 12 hours before that says
on the video you're seeing the wrong one, but the audio people are getting the right number, so is everybody else. 57,000 instances of WannaCry. And Checkpoint says that this is a new variant. The key part here is it takes advantage of the Eternal Blue Windows vulnerability, MS17010, in the Windows Server message block service. That's the service that shares files and printers across networks. The tool Eternal Blue was released by the shadow brokers as part of the alleged NSA leak. It was patched by Windows in March, but apparently, a lot of enterprises did not patch it. So this is one of those instances where consumers may be better protected, especially if they left Windows Auto Update on because they likely got the patch in March and they're fine. They also may not be on a network that has a bunch of other machines that might be likely to get this. But in an enterprise network with hundreds, maybe thousands of users, someone gets an email and installs this, and suddenly no one else has to click on anything. It just gets spread across the network.
That's what's pretty crazy about this is because nobody actually knows what the initial vector is at this point. They don't know how it's getting onto the networks. They do know because it's basically just running around SMB and using this hole. It is raining mayhem. This is the mayhem you were promised at the top of the show, by the way. But yeah, they were like, I guess, running around Telefonica or announcing over the loudspeakers, telling everyone at the Telefonica headquarters to shut your machine down immediately. National Health Service, I want to say the Prime Minister just basically said, the National Health Service was not targeted. We just have 18 hospitals shut down by this.
Yeah. They're closing hospitals and canceling operations in many cases because of this. Like this is the kind of thing where like, well, this hack happened, it affected a limited number of people, and it really didn't have any consequences, is what I often say. Not in this case. This case, it is endangering lives, literally.
Yes, I mean this is the hunt to figure out who's doing this is going to get very interesting. There's initial. I won't name nations that that WannaCry seems to be coming from, but I think there's going to be a huge multinational witch hunt.
Yeah, because it does not appear to be a nation state in any way. It appears to be some kind of criminal organization, and it doesn't appear to have targeted, when they're looking at how the code works, it doesn't appear to have targeted anyone in particular. It just wanted to spread, and it spread way faster than I bet even the perpetrators expected.
Yeah, I think I can't think of the name of Reamd. Then where the
Neil Stephenson book,
the Neil Stephenson, where the kids are basically they create a something a little nefarious in a massive online multiplayer game to basically force people to bring them money because they're all coin farming or they're gold farming and just want to move on with their lives and make a big score, and then things spiral out of control. And this kind of seems like that because I was giggling about the title from Dan Gooden's article on Ars Technica where it's weapons grade, but the reality is this is unbelievably nasty, and it is spreading out of control in the way that we haven't seen a worm, a computer worm.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a bunch of articles comparing it to Code Red in 2001, which spread around the world on Windows 98.
Yeah, and it's really simple. If you keep Windows updates on your system, this should be passed. It will impact anything from Windows XP up to Windows 2012. But if you're a home user and your Windows updates have been turned on, if your Windows updates are current, this should not impact you because it was patched back in March.
I think that's the biggest thing, is that Telefonica, National Health, Iberdrola, the power firm in Spain, Gas Natural in Spain, Portugal Telecom, University in Milan, Italy, FedEx, KPMG, BBVA, Santander Bank, all of these companies should have been up to date. There are reasons I get that sysadmins have for delaying patches for deploying to large organizations, but a March patch, one would hope that this will cause many meetings to be had about how to make sure you roll those patches out as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's also, I feel like a lot of large corporations are going to reevaluate their approach to Windows updates in the wake of this one, because this is whether or not they pay the ransom to unlock. The math on this is kind of outrageous, right? If you have, what are we at, 77,000 machines?
57 is the last I saw.
Okay, 57. Let's say 57,000 machines at $300 per machine.
Sure.
Assuming like everybody pays up, which is obviously not going to happen.
Right? But if they
did, boy, am I reading the numbers there correctly? 1,710,000,000. No, that can't be right.
I mean, it could be
$171 million right there.
All right.
And even if they get 10% of that,
yeah, you're talking about a couple 10,000. Well, and one wonders, with the attention that will be focused, as you said, on finding the perpetrators, is $10,000 to $15,000 even worth it?
No. So if 10% of the computers pay $300, we're talking about $17,100,000.
Yeah, that starts to make it maybe.
That I can see where somebody might be willing to lay themselves out. Yeah.
Microsoft, by the way, also having to deal with this, even though they issued a patch. They announced that they have issued new detection and protection and are working with its customers to provide additional assistance. So, we criticize Microsoft a lot about being so pushy about updates. And yes, they have marketing reasons why they're pushy with those updates, but they also have legitimate security reasons why they're pushy, because they don't want to have to be playing cleanup in these cases.
No, and it also reflects poorly on them because it's Windows machine. Microsoft Windows machines are suffering a catastrophic attack.
Now let's talk about the other part of this, which is the idea that the leak of these tools, the way you look at the leak of these tools is often, well, it's better to have them known so that people can defend against them than to have them not be out there. And when Microsoft patched this 30 days before it was leaked, that sort of felt right. Like, yeah, okay, somebody made sure that Microsoft knew about this before it was leaked, and now it's patched. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, we don't have this widespread outbreak if that isn't leaked today. I feel fairly certain about that.
Well, you could have. Are we talking about whether or not shadow brokers should have leaked this?
I mean, again, I'm not talking about shadow brokers in particular, but when sometimes they say, look, we're going to leak this out there because people should know it's there.
Yeah.
This is the argument that the other side makes. I still think that responsible disclosure is the right way to go, and 90-day limits seem reasonable. But the other part of that is companies need to patch their systems, right? Or it is
Companies need
dangerous
to,
to leak it out there.
Okay, I have a complicated viewpoint on this because I have close friends who have done the responsible disclosure, and who have friends of friends. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
Who have done the responsible disclosure, and the corporate response for a critical, dangerous, terrifying, flaw that was, would literally be impacting hundreds of multinationals, was to send one of their lawyers and a couple of FBI agents to that person's door with a lifetime NDA that involves this universe and a known universe, or else they would basically have them arrested. Or at least if the FBI couldn't arrest them, the FBI agents, the pet FBI agents, were going to make their lives a nightmare. So, in the sense, yes, responsible disclosure is important, but one of the reasons why some security researchers have issues with responsible disclosure is because some companies are run by scumbags.
Yeah,
I do not think Microsoft or Google count in that list, but there are a lot of large computing companies that do not act in a way that would suggest they care about the security of their customers.
Well, guess what? Now we have a big honkin' disaster. I don't feel like I am overusing that when I say this. When hospitals are canceling operations and closing down, that is a disaster.
Yeah.
You have a disaster to point to and say, you know what? You need to fix your stuff. And you know what? Enterprise and home users, you need to patch your stuff. This is not something to joke around with. I wanted to get into nomoreransom.org, which is another site that kind of helps people figure out what to do if they've been a victim of ransomware. It's meant for individual cases, not huge cases like this. But there's great information on there. And you said that Avast has actually joined that project as of today.
They literally just announced that. I want to say in the last couple hours. It's an interesting idea, right? So you've got Europol, Polity, Kaspersky, Intel Security. Were the four founding partners from July 2016. Amazon Web Services and Barracuda are part of it. Bitdefender, Checkpoint, Trend Micro, MSoft, 11path, Avast, and a ton of other groups working together. This group is basically saying, we generally don't want you to pay the ransom. We don't want you to confirm that ransomware works, in no small part because you may not actually get the key to decrypt your data, because sometimes, criminals are criminals. But part of what they're working on is, they're gathering data and then they're creating decryption tools. So if you go to noransom.org and click on the decryption tools.
Nomoreransom.org.
Thank you.
Sure. I just did the same thing you did. That's why I wanted to make sure.
Yes, one more time. Nomoreransom.org, and then click on the decryption tools tag. They've got the Rockney decryptor, which also works on Dharma, Crisis, Chimera, Rockney, Agent Aura, Autolit, Plator, and it goes down. The Rhino decryptor, the Cry-128 decryptor, Amnesia, Cry9, Damage, Krypton, Merry Xmas. It just goes on and on and on. And this is good for the industry, and it's good for consumers. It's good for us.
And there's good prevention advice on this site as well. I mean, this is stuff you all probably know in the audience, but it's just good to hand around. Enable the show file extension in Windows so you can tell if something looks wrong. Trust no one. Do not ever open an attachment unless you're absolutely sure it's safe, no matter who it's from. Keep all the software on your computer up to date. Use robust antivirus software. And of course, most importantly, back up. In fact, Rich Straffolino, who works for Gestalt IT and helps us out on Daily Tech Headlines, said that disaster recovery companies are finding out that their procedures are unexpectedly helpful in recovering from ransomware because they're meant to be able to not only back up, but quickly recover operations in the case of a disaster.
And one thing I want to say with backup, we like on Tech Thing, we talk about it constantly, 3, 2, 1, 3 copies on 2 different mediums, one of them offsite. If all of your backups are attached to your PC, if it's I've got my Drobo 5D right here and I have my files copied up there, you're going to feel so profoundly stupid when not only is everything on your computer locked up, but everything on that Drobo or whatever, if it can impact the operating system or the drives on that device. So it's you want to make sure, like, you want a hard drive, you want a thumb drive, you want your cool little offline gadget, whatever it is. Make sure at least one copy of your data is not connected to your computer.
Yeah. And if you get to that point where you have that sinking feeling because ransomware is infecting your computer and you see it happening, disconnect that computer.
Yeah.
Get it off your network.
Quite cheerfully yank if it's a desktop, I feel comfortable in saying yank the power cable out of the back of the box.
Yeah.
Don't be like, okay, I'm gonna, have.
But that'll corrupt the hard drive. Yeah.
Well, the hard drive is being corrupted.
Yeah.
256 bits at a time.
Thanks to everybody who participates at our subreddit. Helps us figure out what to talk about. Obviously, this is a hot one on the subreddit today. You can submit stories and vote on them yourself at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Real quickly, I wanted to mention that Sakani Wright is back writing Your Private Driver, the column that he writes for us over at dailytechnewsshow.com. He's got a new one up about whether that old adage, any publicity is good publicity, still holds true for Uber these days. And he is a guy who drives for ride-hailing companies, drives for Lyft these days. So go check it out, dailytechnewsshow.com. A couple of quick messages before we're out of here. Travis, a.k.a. Mecha Gobbler, says, working in federal defense R&D, we talk a lot about security trade-offs. With the proliferation of cybercrime, identity theft, etc., are we to the point where creating the longest random password allowed and simply writing it down at home is more secure? Password managers are great, but can be cumbersome and vulnerable themselves. Home break-ins rarely target information, and you could easily obfuscate the password list by slapping it into a copy of Animal Farm or something. What do you think?
I have a friend of mine who is a talented and gifted pen tester, and he basically has given his mom a notebook, that she keeps her password information in. By, there's a system she has, so she doesn't have like bank accounts password. But as silly as that sounds, I'm perfectly comfortable running a password manager I will not name on the show. And if they fall down on the job, then yes, it could completely ruin my personal and professional lives. So I understand, you need to trust the password manager, or you need to, I have no issues with writing passwords down. Just don't put them on stickies on your monitor.
On the monitor. Yeah, that's probably that's probably good advice.
Maybe sticky on the bathroom mirror. And I've got I think 175 passwords now, so I could probably cover the bathroom mirror.
You're gonna have to go on the inside as well of that medicine cabinet. Well, Patrick, as always, man, a pleasure, my friend. Tell folks about all the good things that you got going on these days.
Oh my goodness! Of course, I'm still doing techthing.com, TEKTHING. That's with Shannon and I, we answer viewer questions, we review products. We have a wonderful guide to gifts for mom, tech gifts for mom for Mother's Day. I did a couple of USB Type-C docking stations for laptops this week, and I also do. Robert Heron and I, we used to do HD Nation. Now we do a show called AVXL. It's a podcast, and we talk about home theater and audio and speakers and headphones and just generally getting the most out of home entertainment, whether you have like $12 in the dorm room or you've got $1 million and you want to build a bunker, and everything in between, mostly in the middle stuff. And that's a fun one. Robert's always fun to talk to, as you well know.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to get him back on here one of these days. TechThing, TEKTHING.com, and
Yes,
AVXL, AVEXCEL.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And thanks to everybody who supports this show by giving a little value back for the value they get from the show, including Nicholas Dunn, Dane Wilberding, and Martin Kramer, among many, many more at patreon.com/DTNS. If you are a patron, you get all kinds of perks in there. One of them is we did a special interview with Mark Spoonhour, editor-in-chief of Tom's Guide and LaptopMag.com this morning, on the ability for phones to mimic laptops and a little bit about the Samsung Galaxy S8. That is in your Patreon feed right now. If you're not a patron, you will get that episode as well in your feed, but you get early access if you're a patron. So check that out, patreon.com/DTNS. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We're live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 2030 UTC at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. We're at facebook.com/dailytechnewsshow, and our website is dailytechnewsshow.com. We'll get some bot takes from Veronica Belmont on Monday, and look for that Spoon Hour interview in your feeds this weekend. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
All right. Good show,
Yeah.
man. As
Thank
always.
you. My pleasure. Anytime, dude. Anytime.
What should we call this one?
Dick
Roger.
can only leave the gun.
Roger will
Answered
be.
it.
Oh, there's Roger. But we can't hear him.
It's time to panic.
Well, we have Showbot.tv has a bunch of ideas. Incompetent, not malicious. I got 99 countries and a Bitcoin ransom.
I didn't realize 99 Problems and the Delete Expletive Ain't One was originally an Ice-T song.
Oh, yeah.
It's only
there's Roger.
99
Now we can
countries.
hear you.
It's only 99 countries. I like that.
This hack is a big deal. Bigly deal. Brace your ransomware are coming. Well, brace yourself. Ransomware are coming.
They're a coming.
I like Incompetent, Not Malicious. It's pretty good. And it's only 99 countries.
It's only 99 countries is a really good one, too.
I got 99 countries in a Bitcoin ransom.
It's only 99 countries.
Friday.
Friday. That's funny.
You get a self-moji. You get a self-moji.
You get a self-moji.
Some companies are
there's
run by
195
scumbags.
countries now, if you don't count Taiwan.
Damn.
Ransomware makers mess up mundane detail, put decimal point in wrong place.
Oh, because they only charge 300 instead of
Yeah.
3,000.
Well, you're more likely to get someone to pay a smaller fee than you are a larger one.
Well, you know what? That's a good point. That is another indication that this was not targeted at large companies because they went for a smaller price point. If you're
maybe they thought-
shaking down companies, you raise that price.
Well, they may be doing that as we speak.
Yeah. Maybe that's
This hack is a big deal. Skynet's law. Ransom everywhere.
ransomware. I ran somewhere and got tired. Ransomware.
Oh, you're making a haiku.
I was using it in a sentence.
Yeah.
I ran somewhere. Get it?
Yeah, I know that. I understood.
Let me explain it to you at length.
Let me explain it. And all
Take the high
banal
road, Tom. If
glory.
someone doesn't catch the glory of your pun, just glare at them and move on.
Weapons grade kryptonium. Once they get those quantum computers online, they should be able to decrypt these things like super
Yeah.
fast.
Right?
You should be able to decrypt these things before they're actually encrypted
I know, it'd be awesome.
And go back in time.
simultaneously everywhere.
Quantum electrodynamics. It's science.
Just go fast enough, right? Actually, that's still up for debate. So incompetent, not malicious tops. What do you want, Patrick? What do you flavor or favor?
I'm still a big fan of Incompetent, Not Malicious, followed by its only 99 countries.
I feel I'm going to pick it's only 99 countries, and that's only because in the back of my brain, I feel like I've done Incompetent, Not Malicious before, or something similar to it. It sounds familiar to me.
Wow, you were probably just saying that about news headlines this week.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so I'm going to go with it's only 99 countries and counting.
Oh, my arms.
Because I know I've said that incompetence, not maliciousness. I've made that remark before, if not used it in the title. All right. What else is going on, Patrick?
man, raising children, working on the garden.
How are your laundry stain removal tips?
I think you made a big mistake not just doing a whole show of those because I am.
Well, you may be right.
It is.
What's your top tip?
Never underestimate the power of Dawn detergent and pre-soaking.
Pre-soaking.
We put a little dab of the liquid detergent right on the spot, let it sit.
Yep. And if you've got like a really greasy, nasty stain, a mixture of Dawn detergent and baking soda. Baking soda does this extraordinary job of drawing oil out of fabrics.
Oh, nice.
And Dawn takes grease out of the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, doesn't it soften it? Oh, that's palm olive.
So the baking soda lifts the oil up, and then Dawn
takes it away.
Dawn kind of helps break it up.
Yeah.
So it doesn't reattach itself.
And the baking soda absorbs. Actually, it was. We had somebody had put somebody meaning me had left a container of transmission fluid in the footwell of the passenger seat of my
truck.
car. Actually the Subaru, and one of the
That's
children.
so unlike you, Patrick.
Oddly enough, in that particular case, it is unlikely. It was an unlikely thing to happen, and within a week, Seamus had managed to jump on it while he was getting in the car.
Ouch!
Right before we drove for 2 hours, and
what's that smell? And why is it so slippery?
the transmission leaking inside the cabin, and I looked in, and literally the entire. If you've never experimented with transmission fluid, it has. It's an insane chemical, and it will leak through any. It draws the surface tension on it's kind of crazy, and so it had completely soaked itself, and then dispersed itself over the entire sort of quarter of the backseat carpet, and then I ended up picking up one of those Costco 4-pound, 5-pound bags of baking soda, putting about half of it down there, and within about 24 hours, the bottom 3/4 inch of baking soda had just.
What does it turn into? Is it a new material that you can use?
It turns into a mess. I don't want to get technical, but
right. It doesn't turn into anything
pink
useful.
Mess.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Laundry. I hate doing laundry. So much of it now. So much. And it's not even mine. I haven't done my clothes in 2 weeks. It's all it's everything else. Tablecloth.
Yeah, I was amazed. We went our old we had this little Bosch apartment size units.
Oh, I remember that little thing.
Loved that thing. It actually captured the water. The dryer condensed the water and captured all the water from the laundry.
Oh, nice.
And one of those finally died. We couldn't get the repair part we needed, so we ended up getting full size machines. Life changing.
Oh no! Going to a full size machine from what I had before in the apartment. It's huge. It's funny because I had a Whirlpool guy. I was telling Tom this. To fix the under warranty to fix the ice machine in the fridge, and we were talking about washing machines because I have a Maytag, and Whirlpool owns the Maytag brand. So it's you know what, you don't really need to use as much soap as they tell you to. It's you just need enough liquid soap to cover the bottom of the cap.
Yeah, I use a tablespoon.
Yeah, he said
of soap for laundry.
Really?
He says to avoid all the as long as it's HE. Don't get any of the additional, any HE X3 or turbo or anything else, because he just says it's more condensed and you have to use even smaller amounts. And he said, because I have a front loader washing machine, so they roughly use about 2 gallons of water, so you don't want too much soap because it won't come out in the rinse cycle.
Yeah.
And it could damage the electronics because too many suds goes up the moisture sensor straight into where the computer sits. And then shorts that, and then they want the entire price of the machine to replace it. And so you just buy a new machine instead of replacing the part. Because they're bastards.
Not me. Oh my goodness. Yeah, front loaders are amazing.
It's cool. You just need to remember to leave the door open after you wash so mold doesn't build up, and to wipe out the little rubber part every once in a while.
Yeah, that rubber part, we have that on ours, and it's a pain because it gets all moldy. It's
kind of gross, but what can you do? Actually, no. The cool thing is I need to dry my clothes at a shorter interval because it does such a good job of extracting the water on the spin. It's so loud. It is so incredibly loud when it does that.
Man, maybe it's time to acoustically insulate your washing machine.
I got so many things to do with this house before I even get around to that.
Oh my goodness!
I gotta get a new roof.
Is this the new house in LA? Do
Glendale, yes.
you have to get like a fireproof roof?
No, it's just coming off. Like it's old. It's why they knocked like 35 grand off the price of the house. But it's worn. It's like super worn. And we're thinking about, I was looking at the Tesla solar panel roof things, shingles. And I did use a little online calculator. It's like, wait a minute, 60 grand. It's like,
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
a lot of money. And
'Cause
really, you want a roof to last at least around 30 years, right?
they're doing. I mean, nobody's going to be alive for you to actually make the claim on it. But they gave us like a 50-year guarantee on our roof. The shingles now, they've got the formulas on the shingles now to the point where it should last approximately forever. Or you can do one of the steel roofs and it will last forever.
Yeah, but what about, is it stainless steel? Or
No.
My concern with those is, don't they expand, especially in Southern California with the heat?
Everything expands. That's why they construct them the way they do. All materials expand when they're heated. Well, not ice, but like all the roofing materials expand to one degree or another.
Yeah, I don't know of any roofs made of ice, at least not down here.
Yeah, I wanted to do like terracotta tile, but that might be too heavy. But they make the synthetic material kind that looks the same, and they make them in sheets, like tile sheets.
Well, supposedly Musk is going to reduce the price of the solar tiles.
You know what? Musk should do a demonstration on my house, I could be, I could be on this little like poster with the grinning homeowner, like, I've saved so much money.
Roger Chang saved X amount of money.
This thing powers my AC all through the summer.
I saved so much money by having the company use me as a demonstration and putting me in their ads.
In fact, I saved so much, I bought a Tesla.
I don't know. I really like the whole test video they have where they shoot a 2-inch hailstone at 100 miles an hour at a piece of slate roof and a terracotta tile.
And the terracotta tile just disintegrates?
No, it breaks into a half dozen big pieces.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that I'm not so worried. I'm more worried about horizontal wind. That's my big one. Because that we had one of those.
That was that folk group out of San Bernardino, right?
Yeah. But unfortunately, last month it blew a bunch of extra time. It landed in my neighbor's driveway, and I felt really bad.
We got we got unusual wind recently. It usually is not that windy. It was crazy.
Well, the Tesla tiles are rated for. It's got a wind rating of Class F, based on ASTM D3161, which is 110 mile an hour winds.
Okay.
So if you get 110 mile an hour winds you have
other problems
in the valley in LA, it's probably because there's a firestorm.
Or the summer.
110 miles an hour. I've been in 110 miles an hour in a hurricane. They are very unusual.
You don't remember there was a time, it's probably right before Tech TV, or a ZDTV, but there was a storm in San Francisco in the mid '90s that had like hurricane force winds.
Yeah, I've had a laser out in the Alameda Estuary in 45 knot winds because
the laser of the sailboat, not like the laser, the light.
No, an actual laser sailboat. Yeah, it was one of
both.
It was
just imagining you do it with like a little laser pointer out the wind.
I'm gonna make my cat chase a laser until it gets picked up by the wind and ends up in the Oakland Hills.
I wonder. So did they were still operating after they hit the panel or the tile with the test hailstone?
They don't really say anything about that. They just show it not exploding. Made with tempered glass, solar roof tiles are more than 3 times stronger than standard roofing tiles. That's why we offer the best warranty in the industry. The lifetime of your house or infinity. Watch our hail test video to see how we take durability to a whole new level. I mean, the functioning of the panel would be impaired because there would be, well, I guess that might just be ice embedded in the surface of the panel, which would melt away.
I wonder how much they weigh. If it's light enough, yeah, I'm just worried about weight.
Well, asphalt shingles are heavy, Roger. It's not going to be that much heavier.
Yeah, right.
In fact, it's probably actually lighter. Yeah, they're basically saying 30 years on the weatherization.
30 years, standard, all roofs. I would like it to last for the life of the house, so I never have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Although, Southern
I don't know.
California.
I want a power wall in the worst way. I just think they're so cool.
Yeah, I want one of those, but like, I wonder if I could just do the garage because it's a detached garage. I could just cover that and then power the power wall.
That'd be pretty cool.
But I don't know if there would be enough juice to come in.
Well, how have you been living there long enough to know what your average? Actually, you should figure out.
I
how
just
much
moved in
time
December. I don't have any idea what my annual power use.
Well, you got to get through this. You got to get through this summer.
Yeah.
That'll be
Well,
the
we
big
have
one.
we have a little Tom see it. It's a little courtyard area. So I plan to spend most of the summer out there underneath the
Wow.
umbrella.
These are incredibly expensive.
Oh, yeah. They have that it's like $60,000. It's like I don't know.
Well, I mean, when you look at,
The problem is it's an upfront cost. If they could, I mean, yeah, you could amortize the cost, but that's just a lot out of pocket.
in 2018 they'll have the Tuscan tiles you want. They have textured smooth, and then 2018 Tuscan and slate. I don't know. Part of me wishes I'd done solar when I did the roof, but it gets really, it's not cheap.
It's not cheap, but the Tesla or not the Tesla.
So solar or Tesla says the typical homeowner could expect to pay $21.85 per square foot. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, $22. Yeah.
That's a roof where 35% of the tiles are solar. In some cases, depending on roofs, customers will be able to have up to 70% solar tiles, but in most cases, it'll be about 40%. And then they have a calculator, which any homeowner can use to get an estimate based on data from Google's sunroof project. Is that what you're using, Roger?
Yeah, it was on their site.
Yeah.
They ask you to punch in your square footage.
Okay.
Give you an estimate.
It estimates that its non-solar tiles are cheaper than regular tiles, and its solar tiles are cheaper than anything else, but only when accounting for energy generation. So there you go. It's the amortization you're talking about. Yeah. I see. I'm catching up.
Soon, when you become a Southern California homeowner, you get to delve into the wonderful world of what do I do to my house to ensure that it lasts long?
Yeah, I just had to deal with fog in my Oakland house.
Wait, fog?
Happens, Roger.
Actually,
Those
no.
fog tiles.
You had to deal with. You still have a condo board, right?
Why? Yeah, I do. Why?
Yeah, I'm just
You want
curious.
to meet them?
Maybe.
They're actually very nice people.
Sure they are.
They're actual people. That it's not one of those ones that outsourced it to a company.
I wonder if you could do like a
sounds
solar
awful.
roof on like your building there, and then like everyone.
We
chips.
talked about it when I was actually living in Oakland about because we put a new roof on that condo building, and they talked about doing solar, but at the time it just was too expensive. What are you gonna do? We had to do a special assessment. That was a pain.
Special always sounds expensive to me.
Yeah, that special was code for expensive.
I got a special assessment to increase my taxes, my property taxes.
Yeah,
You've been assessed at a higher rate because you bought it in 2016.
you're special.
You're special.
All right, gents. Thank you again for joining us, everyone. I hope you have a lovely weekend. We'll be back on Monday with Veronica Belmont. Talk to you then.